Hello, magic casters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning in to the 18th episode of our cantrip series. Does your character want everyone to just do what they say? Are they a control freak? Are they a manipulator? Or do they just stress out when the tiniest thing doesn't go according to plan? If that sounds like them, then this spell is perfect for you. Today we're taking a look at the Command spell, usable by the Cleric and the Paladin, and naturally through extension anyone else with access to their spell lists, so you magic initiates out there can grab this one, and it is found in the Player's Handbook. Let's take a quick look at some mechanics here so we kind of get the gist of what we're talking about. The cast time is your standard 1 action, the range is the standard 60 feet, the duration is 1 round, and the effect is as followed, at least at a glance. Issue a 1-word command to a creature you can see within range. If a creature fails a wisdom saving throw, they must follow the command to the best of their ability. The command cannot work if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand the language, or if the command causes direct harm to it. At higher levels, you can add 1 creature per spell slot level above first, so long as the creatures are within 30 feet of each other. The components are just verbal, and the school is Enchantment. Pretty cool stuff there. Let's take a look at the full description here. You speak a 1-word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand your language, or if your command causes direct harm to it. Some typical commands and their effects follow. You might issue a command other than the ones described here. If you do so, the GM determines how the target behaves. If the target can't follow your command, the spell ends. Approach. The target moves towards you by the shortest and most direct route, ending its turn if it moves within 5 feet of you. Drop. The target drops whatever it is holding and then ends its turn. Flee. The target spends its turn moving away from you by the fastest available means. Grovel. The target falls prone and ends its turn. Halt. The target doesn't move and takes no actions. A flying creature stays aloft, providing that it is able to do so. If it must move to stay aloft, it flies the minimum distance needed to remain in the air. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, you can affect 1 additional creature for each spell slot above first. The target creatures must be within 30 feet of each other. Wow, that is a wordy one, my goodness. Very cool though. Something I would like to point out in regards to the wording here. The verbal component is the 1-word command. So there's no real incantation on top of that. At least that's my interpretation of this. So you just essentially lace your word with magical energy and spew it forth. I really think that's cool in terms of being able to come across as an intimidating figure even though you're using magic on them. It doesn't say that the target's aware they had magic used on them like it does for friends or for charmed persons, so I would make it a GM call or DM call, but for the most part I think that's a pretty solid way of looking at it. That being said, let's take a look at some alternative uses here. One of my personal favorite alternative uses for this spell is using it to mess up people during important moments. Using it for that cunning manipulation aspect that the mastermind rogue would absolutely die for. For example, at an archery tournament or a range or something along those lines, you could cast command as though you're shouting from the crowd and simply say, "Miss," at the top of your lungs, and because it will be laced with magic, and because it's just a verbal component, the spell would kind of drown out in the crowd, but its effect would still target the archer and cause them to miss their shot. Very cool. Alternatively, you could really take advantage of the fact that the spell specifies that it can't cause knowing damage, or let me find the exact wording up top here again. The spell has no effect if the command does direct harm to it, the keywords being direct harm. So you could easily trick a person into falling into a trap or into a potentially dangerous scenario that they would not have immediate knowledge of. I think this spell has tons of crazy kooky uses to it, and this is where the comment section is really important. This channel is slowly but surely turning into very much a community for those new D&D players, and because of that, I'd really appreciate it if some of you veterans out there could put your word choices and how they played out in the comments beneath, as well as if you have any alternative uses or any just stories that you want to tell. I'd really appreciate that, and I know everyone else tuning in would as well. With that in mind, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. And as always, happy casting.